Hey guys, so that was perfect timing. Let's stop that. Been a while since I posted a video. My little aunt went ahead and passed on, and I've been basically arranging the funeral, and oh, there's so much that goes into a funeral, and you know, down to the clothes she's gonna wear, the jewelry, the everything, and I'm the person. I'm the one's doing it. So pictures and the videos and the everything down to the it's pretty amazing. I'm learning a lot. But this week so she died Sunday at 1:30 in the morning, and so since then, Monday I worked, and then Tuesday I've been dealing with getting everything arranged. The funeral will be Friday, so only a few days left. So anyway, you see here that I've where I left off is I was working on the subframe connectors, and let me say this, because I think I only had one person, but understand that I know this person thought I was doing that I'm doing things backwards. I think the terminology was you're trying to take your socks off with your shoes on, which is hilarious. I mean, that's freaking awesome. And I understand if you just popped in and you're seeing this, I understand that. Yeah, it does look like I'm doing things backwards. Why are you welding the subframe connectors in when you don't even have the car together and blah blah blah? I'm not. That's what you have to understand. I'm not welding anything that is not permanent to the car, that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm right now, you can see I've got laser on this. I'm making sure the rear end is set straight with the frame rails, with everything else. I'll put a laser on these subframe connectors and make sure they're perfectly straight, the whole deal. And then they won't get welded on until later. I'm just coming up with ideas to box these subframes in to make them stronger, because ultimately connectors, because ultimately what you need to understand is I'm building a frame for this car. This is a unibody car. It didn't have a full frame. It will have a full frame when I'm done with it. That's the thing. That's the subframe connectors. And that full frame needs to be strong. And so let me show you basically what I was talking about. And maybe this will give you some understanding. But so right here is basically, now my battery's fixing to die, so I may have to bring you back. But that basically, that under there would be all that was welded, and then the top of this would be welded to just some sheet metal, as I showed in the last video. Well, now this will have a full frame all the way on top, bottom, everything. It'll be one big solid piece all the way from up here all the way down, tied into all this to make it strong. And then of course it'll be tied in up here to the frame. So it'll be one frame. Versus just having this little thing there. And I'm not saying that won't work, it probably will. Understand, I've overbuilt this car. I'm building a race car. I'm building a car that I can put on the track. I want everything to be straight, square, perfect as I can get it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not just bolting parts on, I'm not just welding parts on, and that's fine if that's what you're after. That's not what I want. I want this thing to be strong, stiff, straight, and so that's why I'm going through all the extra. And like I said, nothing on here has really been welded in, that's except for like the frame rails and stuff like that. But that's done. That's finished, so I don't have to worry about that. But like this to this and all that floor will be set on there, everything lined back up, put back together, lined up, all that kind of stuff. Then I have to I'll take it apart and start my final, because I got to set all that up for weld through primer, all that stuff. So I'm basically mocking the car up first to make sure everything is perfectly square and straight. So I'm starting from the ground up. So that's another thing as far as taking the sock off with the shoe on. I'm building this car from the ground up. I built the jig. It's set up with GM specs. Everything is squared in the line. Everything was set up with lasers. And then I lined my frame rails, got everything pinned in place and squared up. Then put the rest of this stuff in. When I knew that was going to stay and be final welded, I final welded all that stuff together. Got my rear end set in there, got its degreed to 0 where it's sitting perfectly horizontal. Measured out my areas from my frame jig because I know it's square, because I made sure it was freaking perfectly square. Measure in, know that it's 7 3/4 on this side, moved it to that side, 7 3/4, it's perfectly centered. Like I said, laser running down the center. Is it overkill? Probably so, but it's the way I'm choosing to do it. And so don't think I'm going to weld all this stuff in and then try to build the car around it. That's not what is happening. This is basically, I don't know what the word you use you're mocking it up. I guess I'm mocking everything up. If you notice the big dogs, DSE and all those guys, they set their motors in place, they set their transmissions in place, they do all that stuff, they build around that foundation, which I need to do. I need to get me an LS motor and do all that, so that I know, I don't have any surprises. Really, is what I'm after. Literally, I could put this car together in 4 hours completely. I mean, probably every panel, maybe less than that, because everything has already been bolted, set up with the pins. It just literally pins back together exactly where it was. All these panels slide right back into place. Got pins going through them. So I can take this apart and put it together, and take it apart, put it together. It goes right back every time just like it was. Not a big deal. So if anyone's confused about why I'm doing it that way, that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure everything is squared, straight. I cut the holes in that and make sure that my subframe connectors are square and straight. That way when I put my frame in, I can square it, and I know the whole ass end of the car is squared and straight. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've dropped plumb bobs. I've went way overkill, and so, how, like I said, had the name Overkill not been taken, that'd probably be what this car should be called. But Russ has already got that name. So, but that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure everything fits right. I don't want to get partially through this and have welded a bunch of stuff together and go, oh shit, now what do I do? Because you plug weld this stuff, it's there. You don't want to take that stuff apart. So I've got to really be careful. It's not like I'm doing little pinch welds where I can just drill them back out. These are plug welds. They're there to stay. You don't want to have to drill them plug welds back out. I can promise you that. You're going to destroy whatever it is that you've already welded. Just like this. These are all plug welded in. Man, there's no way. There's no way I want to try to find those plug welds. I mean, I can kind of see the shadows of them, but holy crap. No way. So I had to make sure those were perfectly aligned, exactly where they needed to be before I final welded them. And I know they're right. Everything fits. Everything's right. So I know that's a long explanation of what I'm doing, but I just want to let you guys know that I'm not. I've got a method to my madness here. So I know it's a long-term project. I understand that, but like I said, when it's done, once it comes together and I get everything where it needs to be and it's welded together, the rest of it won't take that long. The body work and all that kind of stuff should come together fairly quickly. But again, I'm not in a rush. This is one day at a time, one piece at a time, perfecting what I'm doing, or at least to the best of my ability. So there you go. Hope that helps some of you guys that kind of don't get what I'm doing here, but that's what I'm doing. I'm building it from the ground up. It's overbuilt, but again, I'd rather overbuild it than underbuild it and have something twist or warp or something like that on me. So all right guys, see you.